Imagine standing at the edge of Burkina Faso, where the Sahel stretches endlessly, and seeing a vision so ambitious it almost defies belief: 200 million cashew trees forming a living wall against the encroaching Sahara Desert. This is not the dream, but the reality outlined by President Ibrahim Traoré in 2025, a bold strategy to protect the land, revive the economy, and stake Burkina Faso's claim as a rising force in West Africa. The project, dubbed a Green Cashew Belt, promises more than just environmental restoration. Each tree planted is a step toward economic resilience, offering a potential lifeline for exports in a region historically dependent on foreign markets. Yet the challenges loom: large limited processing infrastructure dependency on India for raw cashew purchases, and the relentless pressures of climate change. As the sun rises over this ambitious frontier, one question hangs in the air: can a nation with constrained resources transform such a daring vision into reality? Or will it remain an inspiring idea, a testament to hope rather than a blueprint for change? If you believe that Africa's awakening has already begun, stay with us and explore how President Ibrahim Traoré is reshaping Burkina Faso's destiny, tree by tree. On October 3, 2025, President Ibrahim Traoré unveiled one of the most ambitious environmental and economic projects in recent African history: the planting of 200 million cashew trees along the northern and eastern borders of Burkina Faso. These regions, lying in the heart of the Sahel, have long battled the relentless advance of the Sahara Desert, with communities facing soil erosion, failing crops, and food insecurity. The Green Cashew Belt is not just a planting project. It is a strategic effort to safeguard both land and livelihoods, blending ecological restoration with economic empowerment. The project's design reflects meticulous planning. Planting sites were chosen based on soil fertility, rainfall patterns, and accessibility for local communities, ensuring maximum survival rates. Villages are organized into cooperative units, where farmers, youth, and women participate actively in planting, irrigation, and tree maintenance. The plan is phased. The first 50 million trees are to be planted in year 1, with subsequent phases expanding toward the full 200 million over 5 years. Each phase incorporates monitoring and adaptation to climate conditions, ensuring that the trees have the best chance to thrive in the harsh Sahelian environment. From an environmental perspective, cashew trees provide multiple benefits. Their roots stabilize soil and prevent erosion, while the canopy creates microclimates that protect smaller plants and crops, enhancing biodiversity. Analysts predict that, if successful, the initiative could significantly slow desertification, restoring large swaths of degraded land. Additionally, as a carbon sink, these trees contribute to global climate mitigation efforts, positioning Burkina Faso as a forward-thinking nation in international environmental discussions. Economically, the stakes are equally high. Burkina Faso produces a substantial share of West Africa's cashews, but most are exported raw, primarily to India, leaving the country dependent on foreign processing markets. The Green Cashew Belt seeks to change that dynamic, establishing local processing centers, creating jobs in cultivation, harvesting, and processing, and enabling communities, especially women and youth, to gain income and professional skills. Families now have a direct stake in the project's success, and local economies stand to benefit from the multiplier effect of increased employment and trade. Yet the project faces real challenges. Infrastructure for processing, storage, and transport is limited, requiring investment and technical expertise. Water scarcity in the Sahel complicates irrigation, while extreme heat and irregular rainfall demand adaptive management. Training programs are essential to teach communities sustainable pruning, pest control, and irrigation practices. Political stability and consistent government support are also crucial to ensure the long-term viability of such a massive undertaking. Despite these obstacles, the Green Cashew Belt is a symbol of national ambition and resilience. Each tree represents more than environmental protection. It is an investment in Burkina Faso's future, a step toward economic independence and a way to unify communities around a common purpose. The project blends visionary leadership with grassroots action, demonstrating how careful planning, citizen engagement, and natural resources can combine to transform a nation. But while these trees take root physically, the true drama is unfolding through international and domestic reactions, setting the stage for the high-stakes narrative that will define Traoré's leadership and Burkina Faso's emerging role in West Africa. The unveiling of the 200 million cashew trees initiative by President Ibrahim Traoré represented a dramatic turning point for Burkina Faso. The scale alone, an environmental and economic project spanning thousands of kilometers along the Sahel, drew immediate attention both locally and internationally. For the president, it was a statement Burkina Faso would no longer wait passively for external aid, but would take proactive steps to secure its environmental and economic future. Within Burkina Faso, the announcement stirred a mixture of pride, excitement, and cautious optimism. Communities along the borders were energized, understanding that their participation in planting and maintaining the trees would directly affect their livelihoods, family incomes, and community well-being. Local leaders emphasized the potential for job creation, particularly for women and youth, fostering a sense of ownership and hope in areas historically marginalized by poverty and environmental degradation. Schools, clinics, and small businesses were expected to benefit indirectly from this economic uplift, reinforcing the social impact of the project. Internationally, the reaction was multifaceted. India, the world's largest importer of raw cashews, expressed strong interest, seeing potential to stabilize supply chains and ensure consistent trade. Analysts noted that Burkina Faso could leverage this demand to negotiate better terms, reduce dependency, and eventually shift toward domestic processing, capturing greater value from exports. Environmental NGOs hailed the initiative as a major step in combating desertification, highlighting the project's role in soil stabilization, ecosystem restoration, and carbon sequestration. Reports emphasize that if the project succeeded, it could become a model for climate-resilient agriculture across West Africa. Meanwhile, Western media, particularly in the United States and Europe, approached the story with cautious scrutiny. Analysts asked whether Burkina Faso had the infrastructure, expertise, and political stability to sustain such an ambitious endeavor. Questions were raised about water scarcity, extreme temperatures, and the country's limited processing capacity. Yet even skeptics acknowledged the audacity and vision of Traoré's leadership, framing the project as a potentially transformative effort in a region often overlooked on the global stage. The narrative quickly evolved into a regional and international symbol. The project merged ecological responsibility with economic strategy, positioning Burkina Faso as a forward-thinking nation capable of tackling multiple crises simultaneously. Each sapling became a tangible embodiment of resilience and national ambition, while the green cashew belt concept captured global imagination. Photographs and reports highlighted communities planting trees, children participating in school programs, and local processing workshops, painting a vivid picture of collective action. Yet even amid optimism, challenges fueled debate. Analysts warned that mismanagement or delays could undermine confidence both domestically and internationally. Sustaining political support, securing funding for infrastructure, and maintaining community engagement were all essential for success. Despite these hurdles, the high-profile launch served as a dramatic statement of intent, signaling that Burkina Faso was ready to assert its role in West Africa's economic and environmental future. But while this ambitious plan generates hope and admiration, its true impact will only be realized as Burkina Faso navigates the social and political consequences, shaping livelihoods, governance, and regional influence. The Green Cashew Belt Initiative is beginning to reshape the social fabric of Burkina Faso in profound ways. Communities along the northern and eastern borders, once struggling against desertification and economic stagnation, are now engaged in collective efforts to plant and maintain millions of cashew trees. This engagement provides tangible income through labor, while also fostering a sense of pride and purpose. Women who traditionally had limited roles in agriculture beyond subsistence farming are now central to the project, participating in planting, irrigation management, and local processing. Youth involvement is equally significant. Training programs equip young people with agricultural skills, leadership experience, and economic literacy, ensuring that the next generation is both invested in and capable of sustaining these environmental and economic gains. The economic consequences are immediate and visible: increased employment opportunities and the potential for local processing of cashews are already improving household incomes. Small-scale cooperatives empowered by Traoré's government are emerging as new engines of local commerce. Markets are beginning to thrive not just from the sale of cashews, but from the broader network of services required to support the planting, maintenance, and harvesting operations. Clinics, schools, and local shops see indirect benefits, reflecting a ripple effect that strengthens communities socially and economically. Politically, the project strengthens President Ibrahim Traoré's legitimacy and public perception. By demonstrating decisive action against environmental degradation and economic dependence, he positions himself as a visionary leader capable of delivering tangible results. Opposition parties, while maintaining their critical voices, are finding it increasingly difficult to challenge the government's narrative of national progress without appearing indifferent to environmental and economic concerns. This temporary political cohesion reduces internal friction and allows the government to pursue complementary reforms in education, infrastructure, and local governance with broader public support. Yet the project also exposes systemic challenges. Burkina Faso's limited infrastructure and intermittent political instability present ongoing risk to project continuity. Analysts emphasize that success depends on maintaining consistent funding, robust logistical support, and ongoing community engagement. Moreover, disparities in resource allocation between regions could create tension if some areas perceive unequal benefits. Transparent monitoring and equitable distribution of opportunities are crucial to sustaining both social and political stability. The Green Cashew Belt also reshapes the nation's narrative on resilience. For citizens, each planted tree represents a step away from dependency, an act of self-determination that embodies collective courage. Communities see themselves not merely as recipients of policy, but as active participants in a national mission, strengthening social cohesion and reinforcing faith in leadership. Schools integrate environmental education into curricula, emphasizing the connection between sustainable agriculture, economic empowerment, and national pride. Local leaders report that families are discussing environmental stewardship and economic strategy at the household level, a sign of deepening civic engagement. International observers note that the domestic success of the initiative enhances Traoré's credibility on the global stage. Countries in West Africa view the program as a potential blueprint for their own environmental and economic strategies. By coupling ecological restoration with economic development, Burkina Faso is demonstrating that environmental policies can have direct, measurable benefits for civil society and governance. The project's success could serve as a stabilizing force, reducing migration pressures and enhancing the country's regional influence. As the Green Cashew Belt continues to grow, the nation's story is not confined to its borders. How the world perceives Burkina Faso, particularly the United States and other global powers, will shape trade, investment, and diplomatic relationships in the years ahead, setting the stage for a narrative that extends far beyond trees and soil. From the perspective of the United States, Burkina Faso's Green Cashew Belt initiative is being closely monitored as a case study in climate resilience and strategic economic development. American analysts recognize that the project has the potential to stabilize regional agriculture and diversify trade partnerships. By increasing domestic production of cashews and gradually moving toward value-added processing, Burkina Faso could reduce dependency on foreign markets, particularly India. which currently imports a substantial portion of West Africa's raw cashews. Economic strategists in Washington see the initiative as an example of how targeted environmental interventions can translate into measurable economic outcomes, a principle increasingly relevant to both emerging markets and U.S. development programs. Environmental NGOs in the U.S. have praised the project for its innovative approach to combating desertification and climate change. The initiative aligns with global priorities of carbon sequestration and ecosystem restoration. Analysts note that if successful, Burkina Faso could become a regional model, inspiring neighboring countries in the Sahel to adopt similar measures. Programs like these are highlighted in conferences and policy forums as examples of grassroots leadership and sustainable development emerging from Africa itself, not solely driven by Western aid. Across Europe, governments and development agencies are evaluating the social and economic implications of the project. By integrating women and youth into the workforce, Burkina Faso addresses multiple sustainable development goals simultaneously: gender equality, poverty reduction, and sustainable agriculture. European investors see potential in financing processing facilities, supply chain logistics, and training programs. They understand that Traoré's vision could reshape regional trade, potentially positioning Burkina Faso as a key hub for processed cashew exports in West Africa. Asian stakeholders, particularly India, are monitoring the initiative for its long-term impact on supply chains. Any increase in domestic processing could eventually reduce imports of raw cashews, altering trade dynamics. Indian companies are exploring opportunities for partnerships in training, technology transfer, and joint ventures, signaling a strategic interest in both the economic and diplomatic dimensions of Burkina Faso's environmental policies. Media coverage worldwide reflects a mixture of curiosity, admiration, and skepticism. American and European outlets highlight the audacity and scope of the project, often framing it as a test of African innovation. While some analysts question the feasibility given Burkina Faso's infrastructure limitations, others emphasize the symbolic and practical significance of a developing nation, asserting agency, leveraging natural resources, and confronting climate challenges head-on. News outlets and Africa-focused publications frequently cite Burkina Faso as a story that deserves attention beyond typical headlines, illustrating that Africa is actively shaping its own destiny. Domestically, international attention is already influencing policy discussions. Burkina Faso's government is leveraging this visibility to attract technical expertise, foreign investment, and partnerships with NGOs. Traoré's leadership is increasingly recognized not just as national governance, but as regional influence with global implications. Analysts suggest that the country's strategic approach, combining environmental stewardship, economic development, and social empowerment, could reshape West African leadership narratives, making Burkina Faso a reference point for sustainable progress. As global observers take note, the focus now turns to how this initiative reshapes internal power structures and consolidates Traoré's role as a symbol of resilience, setting the stage for the dramatic twist that will define Burkina Faso's emerging position in Africa and the world. As the green cashew belt begins to flourish, an unexpected development reshapes Burkina Faso's regional influence. Neighboring countries, initially skeptical, now seek technical guidance and collaboration. Mali and Niger, confronting similar desertification challenges, are exploring partnerships to replicate Burkina Faso's model, elevating Traoré's reputation as a visionary leader across West Africa. What started as a national project now carries regional strategic significance, positioning Burkina Faso at the center of ecological and economic innovation in the Sahel. International organizations, once cautious, begin to acknowledge measurable results. Local employment increases, cashew yields rise, and desert encroachment slows in pilot areas. Media coverage emphasizes that Burkina Faso is demonstrating self-reliance, transforming its environmental crisis into a blueprint for economic opportunity. Communities involved in planting and harvesting are celebrated in global reports, highlighting the human dimension of resilience and leadership. Photographs of thriving groves, cooperative workshops, and children learning sustainable agriculture circulate widely, reinforcing the narrative of Burkina Faso as a trailblazer in West Africa. Domestically, Traoré's political capital rises. His ability to mobilize communities, manage large-scale ecological initiatives, and attract regional cooperation solidifies his status as a transformative leader. Citizens begin to view the Green Cashew Belt not just as a project, but as a symbol of national pride and unity, bridging social divides and demonstrating that Burkina Faso can take the lead in addressing challenges that once seemed insurmountable. Yet the most surprising impact extends beyond regional acclaim, reshaping eternal power dynamics and Burkina Faso's image on the global stage, further cementing Traoré's influence. Within Burkina Faso, the project fosters a unifying national identity. Communities previously divided by resource scarcity are now collaborating under a common mission. Political opposition, while still present, acknowledges tangible progress, reducing internal tensions and allowing Traoré to pursue complementary reforms in education, infrastructure, and governance. This rare period of cohesion enhances his ability to implement broader policies while maintaining popular support. Globally, Burkina Faso's story resonates. International media portray the country as an emerging example of innovation and resilience, challenging outdated perceptions of fragility. Investors, policymakers, and environmental organizations are taking note, recognizing that even nations with limited resources can leverage vision and determination to achieve transformative outcomes. Traoré emerges as a symbol not just of national leadership, but of African ingenuity and proactive problem-solving. The Green Cashew Belt evolves into more than a tree planting program. It becomes a movement showcasing Burkina Faso's capacity to simultaneously address environmental, economic, and social challenges. Millions of trees symbolize hope, perseverance, and the tangible impact of strategic visionary leadership. Through these twists, the narrative shifts. What began as a domestic initiative now defines Burkina Faso's regional authority and global relevance, while solidifying Traoré as a figure of courage and foresight. With these dramatic developments, the stage is set for a concluding message of inspiration, highlighting the project's transformative power and Traoré's enduring leadership. Today, the Green Cashew Belt stands as a living testament to Burkina Faso's courage and vision. Once struggling communities in the Sahel now witness green corridors stretching across arid lands where children play under the shade of young cashew trees and families earn stable incomes from harvesting and local processing. Schools benefit from new programs tied to sustainable agriculture. Clinics report improvements as household income rises, and markets are thriving, proof that a single audacious initiative can ripple through society, transforming both land and lives. President Ibrahim Traoré embodies the spirit of this transformation. We do not ask for permission to be free. We have stood up to claim it. His leadership has turned Burkina Faso into a regional exemplar, inspiring neighboring countries to explore similar initiatives and capturing international attention for its strategic blend of environmental restoration, economic empowerment, and social cohesion. Millions of cashew trees now symbolize resilience, hope, and national pride, creating a tangible legacy that extends far beyond the borders of the country. For citizens, the project has fostered unity and purpose. Women and youth, once marginalized, are now central to economic activity and environmental stewardship. Communities take pride in contributing to a vision that strengthens national sovereignty and demonstrates that environmental and economic challenges can be addressed simultaneously. If the courage and foresight of Ibrahim Traoré resonate with you, share this story. Let the world see that Burkina Faso is not merely surviving, it is leading, innovating, and inspiring. Subscribe to follow the ongoing journey of a nation transforming adversity into opportunity and witness the rise of Africa's potential tree by tree, hope by hope. Burkina Faso's story is a message to the world with vision, unity, and determination. Even the harshest landscapes can be renewed, and even the most daunting challenges can be overcome.